I want to do a feature video on these two rubber Chairman Mao busts that I acquired while living in China and from 2004 to 2015. So I like obscure collectibles, and this checks the box for that. I'm not necessarily a Chairman Mao fan or a Marxist theorist as Mao was, but I just find this a relic of a bygone era. I like that too. I like rubber things. I like obscurity. I like the patina, the passage of time. These are almost utilitarian because everyone had to have one of these during the Cultural Revolution in China. So where do I start? So let me just start with the background of what these are objectively. So China's Cultural Revolution was from 1966 to 1976 in China. Mao Zedong was the leader. He was born in Hunan province, China, in Qing Dynasty, China. He's a very polarizing figure. So pretty much every household had one of these during the Cultural Revolution. Most, though, were of a ceramic or a porcelain, or I've seen brass material. The rubber ones are just more obscure. I would seldom see these. These, from what I've understood, are from lower income families. They couldn't afford a fancy brass or porcelain ones, so they got rubber. Durable. I'll tell you what, if you had kids, this would be great. Ideal. It's not gonna break if you knock it off playing, whatever in the house. So these were, I'm not sure if they were mandatory, but I'd be willing to bet every house had these in China during the Cultural Revolution, proudly displayed, like them or not. So that's what these are. Now, when I was living in Shanghai, China, I was there working. I was a professional musician. I still am. I was there for roughly 11 years. I like obscure things, and I always see, be it touristy spots in Shanghai, near whatever destination, tourist attraction, or in antique markets off the beaten path. There'd always be brass and porcelain ones, and they were always reproductions. You could just tell they had fake aging and fake wear marks that all would go one direction instead of just random, as an object would wear randomly for 50 years or so. So I would seldom, living there for 11 years, you get a gist of what's going on with collectibles and obscure things, and you would just never see these rubber ones. And I've always collected rubber toy cars or just rubber, jigglers. I just love rubber for some reason. So I'd see these just maybe one a year, and then, the first couple of years, and I had I don't buy one. So I bought this one off a street peddler in Shanghai near the Huangpu River. It was a big coin market. It's freaking huge. It's like a stock market. Anyhow, guys set up on the weekend and little tarps outside, and they sell knickknacks. And this caught my eye, and I bought it. I think it was probably like e-buy kwai, like maybe $18. So I bought it. And this one, I think I bought it. There was in Jing'an area. It was a real fashionable area what I was living at towards the end of my time in China. There was a real fashionable Cultural Revolution relic store. The idea in China was, the idea in Shanghai was kind of cool because vintage stores started popping up. In America, we call them antique stores. In China, they're called vintage because a Chinese antique is literally 1,000 years old or older. In America, it's roughly 100 years old. So they're called vintage stores in China. And they would sell vintage stuff from Russia, even the US and China. They were fun, but really expensive to go inside and look. Anyhow, there was one that was just focused on red, Cultural Revolution, red Mao posters, and this was there. The guy had a lot of them. I just bought one, so I had two. So this is from Street Peddler. This is from a fancy boutique. This one probably cost $30 from what I remember. This says, I believe it says Zhongshan. I think it says, or pardon me, Nanshan. Nan is south and Shan is mountain. This one's a little bit unclear though, this character. That's Shan for mountain. I'm not sure if this is where it's made or what. But now, as far as Mao, people have asked me before, what do Chinese people feel about Mao? How do they feel about him now? And I can just say this, from living there for 10 years, the people in the cities like Shanghai and Hangzhou and Beijing, they're too busy making money to worry about Mao, to be honest with you. They're just they're very entrepreneurial folks, got their head down, trying to make money, start their own business. they're not really concerned about Mao. And some are unfavorable of him, especially in Shanghai. But if you go to the countryside, now that's a different story. So, for example, I was out in the countryside in China, and I went to this restaurant, and my buddies were in a band, and there's a big picture of Chairman Mao on the wall. And, it's a country restaurant, and the boss comes out. We're two, I think there was two Laowai, two foreigners in the band, me and my friend who plays drums. And the boss comes out, he points to Mao and says, "Look at this guy," in Chinese, like, this is our leader, akin to, someone coming out the Bible Belt pointing to a picture of Christ, saying, this is our God, you show respect. But he wasn't really mean about it. He was just kind of proud and kind of forthcoming. It was cool. It was a good dinner. But so it depends on where you are. The countryside folks still seem to, I'm not sure if celebrate Mao is the word, but revere him maybe. And in the cities, the main cities, the coastal cities, folks just trying to make their money. They don't worry about Mao anymore. They got other things to worry about. High price for rent, going home for Chinese New Year, having to give everyone hongbaos, little money envelopes. That's stressful as hell. Traveling, oh man. Anyhow, I love China. I loved it there. That's why I stayed for 11 years. And these are two of the relics I have from that time. Now, I'm still trying to collect these. Now, it's a little bit more difficult living in the United States. I do see there's one lot on eBay as of summertime 2024, but it's a large lot, and I believe the seller wants $800. I wish they would break it up, because I'd buy a couple. I'm not sure if I'm going to jump in $800 to buy a lot of them, but they look cool together. But it's fun to have the story of buying these over in Shanghai and what they mean to people there. These were very obscure. I love obscure, and these kind of check that box because, again, living there for 10 years, you see, the course of what's available in antique markets. Because I was always looking at antique markets, always looking, always walking around. This one just got that salty. It's just super warm. There's probably a gazillion cigarettes smoked around these. They're probably a lot lighter when they were new. A lot of folks smoke in China, so I just smoked on. Probably a little burn mark there, who knows. So anyhow, this is my story of these vintage Cultural Revolution rubber Chairman Mao busts that I bought in Shanghai, China. Thanks for checking in.